Today we'll be discussing the basic steps of an IC fabrication. When we discuss the IC fabrication steps, we will consider the processes briefly at first. The processes which are included in basic fabrication processes in an IC include the crystal growth, doping, deposition, patterning, lithography, oxidation, and ion implantation. So, to study each one of these processes, we will be studying the fabrication steps. First of all, we'll just try to understand them diagrammatically. What is done is, we take a silicon base as shown in figure A, then we cut a window by photoresist process. In the diagram C, the surface in window is reoxidized, which is a thin layer. In diagram D, the window for source and drain are cut by the second photoresist process. In diagram E, boron diffusion to form source and drain. In figure F, oxide in main window is stripped off. In figure G, pure oxide is formed for gate region. In figure H, windows for source and drain contacts are cut by the third photoresist process. In figure I, aluminum contacts are deposited and then defined by fourth photoresist process. So here we have used all the basic fabrication steps to create a MOS transistor. The basic planar process which we have in our syllabus is the PN junction. So the basic planar process are shown over here. The processes again include the same thing. We have a wafer as shown in diagram A. We have the oxidation process which creates the silicon dioxide layer in B. We have a silicon wafer with oxide layer and a photoresist, that is called the lithography, and then we expose it to light. So these are the steps which are involved in the planar processes. Here again we have shown more in the three-dimensional diagram what are the major steps of planar process from diagrams A to F. Here all the processes are involved. So now we'll start with our first step, that is called the oxidation. So we know that all the steps which are oxidation, lithography, ion implantation, metallization, these steps we will discuss them one by one. So first of all, we start with oxidation. The development of high quality silicon dioxide has helped us to establish the dominance of silicon in the production of commercial ICs. Generally, silicon dioxide functions as an insulator in a number of device structures or as a barrier to diffusion or ion implantation during the device fabrication. In fabrication of a PN junction, which we have already discussed earlier, that is in this diagram, the silicon dioxide film is used to define the junction area as we have shown over here. There are two silicon dioxide growth methods, that is the dry and wet oxidation, depending upon whether we use dry oxygen or water vapor for depositing the oxide layer. Dry oxidation is usually used to form thin oxides in a device structure because of its good silicon dioxide interface characteristics, whereas wet oxidation is used for thicker layers because of its higher growth rate. So we have shown in our earlier figure that a section of bare silicon wafer is used and is ready for oxidation. After the oxidation process, a silicon dioxide layer is formed all over the wafer surface. So only the upper surface of an oxide layer is used as we have shown in the diagram. Here we have also shown the basic device which is used for fabricating or for the diffusion or oxidation process. So this is a furnace which is used. The furnace, we have placed the wafer in the chamber and then we can use it for different processes. This type of device is used for oxidation, it is used for diffusion, it is used for implantation, and a number of processes which will follow. Next we go over to what is lithography. Another technology which is called the photolithography. This is used to define the geometry of the PN junction. After the formation of silicon dioxide, the wafer is coated with an ultraviolet, that is UV light sensitive material, which is called the photoresist. This is then spun onto the wafer surface by a high speed spinner. After the spinner, the wafer is baked at around 80 to 100 degrees centigrade to drive the solvent out of the resist and to harden the resist for improved adhesion. So the next step is to expose the wafer through a patterned mask using ultraviolet source. The exposed region of the photoresist coated wafer undergoes a chemical reaction depending upon the type of resist. The area exposed to light becomes polymerized and difficult to remove in an etchant. The polymerized region remains when the wafer is placed in the developer, whereas the unexposed region under the opaque area dissolves and washes away. The wafer after development is what is left after the photoresist is washed away. The wafer is again baked to 120 to 180 degrees centigrade for 20 minutes to enhance the adhesion and improve the resistance to the subsequent etching process. Then an etch is used, that is the buffered hydrofluoric acid. It removes the unprotected silicon dioxide surface, and then the resist is stripped away by a chemical solution or an oxygen plasma system. The final result of the region without oxide, that is a window after the photolithographic process, is shown in the diagram earlier, which we have shown over here. The wafer is now ready for forming the PN junction by a diffusion or ion implantation process. Now we discuss what is meant by diffusion or ion implantation. So here we have shown what is the lithography. This we have shown diagrammatically. First we spin coat the resist, then we expose it to light. There are two types of photoresist available, that is the positive and negative photoresist. We then etch it out with the help of hydrofluoric acid, and then the final window is obtained over here. This is what is shown diagrammatically. We now go over to what is meant by diffusion process. In the diffusion process, the semiconductor surface is not protected by the oxide, is exposed to a source with a high concentration of opposite type of impurity. The impurity moves into the semiconductor crystal by solid state diffusion. An ion implantation method is slightly different from the diffusion process. So when we expose it to high temperature furnace, then the diffusion movement of chemical species form an area of high concentration to area of lower concentration. The diffusion process begins with the deposition of a shallow high concentration of the desired impurity in the silicon surface through windows etched in the protective barrier layer. The different methods of diffusion are discussed over here. In the pre-deposition, we have the dopant in the window, so this creates a high concentration region, and then we have a drive-in that is followed by a high temperature method. Now if you compare this, so there are two methods of implanting species of different types into the wafer. The two methods include the diffusion and the ion implantation. Here we have discussed the diffusion. For comparison, let us see what is the difference between diffusion and ion implantation, because we will be discussing ion implantation in the next step. For diffusion, we need a high temperature and a hard mask of silicon dioxide, whereas in ion implantation, low temperature is used and a photoresist mask is what is sufficient. In diffusion, isotropic dopant profile is formed, but if we require an anisotropic dopant profile, then ion implantation is preferred. For diffusion process, it cannot be independently controlled the dopant concentration and the junction depth, but in ion implantation, we can independently control the dopant concentration and the junction depth. So if we need a process in which higher accuracy is required, ion implantation is the preferred method. Ion implantation, the intended impurity is introduced into the semiconductor by accelerating the impurity ions to a high energy level and then implanting the ions into the semiconductor. The silicon dioxide layer serves as a barrier to impurity diffusion or ion implantation. After the diffusion or ion implantation process, the p-n junction is formed. Due to lateral diffusion or impurities or lateral struggle of implanted ions, the width of the p region is slightly wider than the window opening. So this is what we have discussed in the ion implantation process. The advantages of ion implantation process are that it is contamination free. The dominant, accurate and low temperature method is used. It is excellent control of dose with large range of 10 to the power 12 to 10 to the power 18 dopants per centimeter square. Non-equilibrium process. Good control of implant depth, that is 100 angstrom to 10 micrometer with energy kilo electron volt to mega electron volt. Repairing crystal damage and dopant activation requires annealing, which can be used in dopant diffusion and loss of depth control. There is a wide choice of masking materials. These are the advantages of ion implantation process over the diffusion process. Now finally, we discuss the metallization process. The metallization process, after diffusion or ion implantation process, a metallization process is used to form the ohmic contacts and interconnections. Metal films can be formed by physical vapor deposition and the chemical vapor deposition, both the methods. The lithographic process is again used to define the front contact, which is as shown in this diagram, and a similar metallization step is done on the back contact without using the lithographic process. Normally a low temperature, that is less than 500 degrees centigrade, anneal would be performed to promote the low resistance contacts between the metal layers and the semiconductor. With the completion of the metallization, the p-n junction becomes functional. Thank you.